Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Sharad Bihari ki jai.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishaya Bhutale Srimate Vedanta Swamine
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale
Srimate Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Vashvata Deshatari Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Vashvata Deshatari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Priyadunika Gadadara Sivasana Gauravata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Shotara Shishimara Sangresh Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Shotara Shishimara Sangresh Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Maharaj ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai. Iskam founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Flames for host Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai. Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glorious to the assembled devotees. All glorious to the assembled devotees. All glorious to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Ganyakashe Purvakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ito Nishinga Parato
Jato jato gami jato Narasimha. Mohir Narasimha, Hidaye Narasimha.
Mohir Narasimha, Hidaye Narasimha.
Mohir Narasimha, Hidaye Narasimha.
Mohir Narasimha, Hidaye Narasimha.
Narasimha Mahadev Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimha Mahadev Sharanam Prapade.
Samakara Kamare Naka Madhuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipo Pranalinga Keshavalita Narayanama Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Madhavakara Kamalavare
Naka Madhuta Sringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu
Janaprema Keshavadeta Naraparinduta Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Keshavalita Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Keshavalita जय सर्व विघ्न विनाशकारी नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, शुद्ध भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की समस्त गौर भक्तवृंद की निताय गौर सीताराम प्रेमानंदे
हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please
Welcome
accept my
all the
obeisances.
devotees. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories
Om
to
Vishnu Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada. Welcome everyone who's joining us for ISKCON Philadelphia's Sunday program. All those that are viewing on Zoom as well as YouTube. We welcome you. We want to start off by welcoming you. If you joined a little bit late, we want to give you a quick darshan, a close-up darshan of our deities here at ISKCON Philadelphia, starting with His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki.
Ki Jai.
And their most merciful lordships, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai.
Ki Jai.
This is actually a new outfit today.
Oh,
जगन्नाथ बलदेव
Jagannath
सुब्रमण्य
Baladev
की
Subhadra
Ki
Maharani.
Jai.
जय
Nilachala Nivasaya Nitya.
Look how beautifully they're dressed, their turbans.
Can you explain about the new outfit today? Special?
This was I don't actually have an explanation for it.
Nice.
Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes there doesn't need to be a reason.
Thank you.
This was, and then their most beautiful lordships, Shri Shri Radha Sharad Bihari.
Bihari Ki Jai.
जय
Jai. So those that want to come to the temple to take darshan, darshan will open at 5:45, between 5:45 and 7:15 this evening. There'll be artik at 6:45 to 7:15. Today, we want to welcome His Grace Krishna Kirtan Prabhu. He'll be speaking tonight on a very important topic about fear. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, he is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. He is very close to us here in ISKCON of Philadelphia. This is where he started. And I don't know, how long ago was it? Maybe about 8 years ago?
No, 2014.
14, so 6 years ago. He started a venture down in Delaware. He wanted to expand the Sankirtan movement. He said, okay, Philadelphia has their program there. Their temple is established, but the devotees in Delaware, they need something. And he really wanted to preach in Delaware. So he started the Krishna Village. Many of you, I'm sure, have gone to or know about, which is it's a program in order to bring people closer to Krishna in that area. So he's the temple president there. And he joins us from time to time. He helps us with our Rath Yatra. And he's a regular. Every 2 weeks he speaks at our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So tonight he'll speak to us on how to overcome fear. Fear is something that, depending on where we are in our lives, in our past karmas, everybody has different types of fears. Sometimes it's fear of snakes, sometimes it's fear of heights, sometimes it's fear of public speaking, sometimes it's just a straight out fear of death. But we also know that we can become fearless, as the great acharyas have become. Our beloved Srila Prabhupada was named Abhay Charanaravinda, one who is fearless at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So we're very eager to hear tonight Krishna Kirtan Prabhu on how to overcome this fear that we may all have. So with that, I'll hand it over to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Dhanacharya Prabhu. Can you hear me well?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you
Okay.
wonderfully. Thank you.
So I'll begin with a prayer. Jayo Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jayo Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopijana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopijana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajajana Ranjana, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajajana Ranjana, Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitam Sha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Deve Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarvyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Disi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much. Very grateful to be amongst all of you. For giving the opportunity to speak. Actually, I'm not going to speak today. I'm literally trying to share some information I felt very important. This is a very important subject, overcoming fear. I don't find myself to be qualified to speak because it's supposed to be spoken by those who have overcome that fear. I personally have a lot of fear in my heart. Your prayers, the arati and everything helped for me to prepare myself to share something which is deeply a desire came on a situation. Before I speak, I want to take blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas, senior Vaishnavas. This Philadelphia temple is, I'm not a guest, and this is my home. So it's for the service, higher purpose. Actually, it was not built by me. It was built by devotees of Philadelphia. You all helped in bringing this community. It is your temple, and because of all of your blessings, we are here. All the devotees are relishing Krishna consciousness here. Very grateful. Those who are, I can't see now, I can see actually. I would like to seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas for giving me this opportunity as well. This is a very important subject which I'm going to speak, which is overcoming fear. I would like to give a brief why I decided to speak on this. It was a long desire to share this in Delaware as well. What invoked me to speak on this subject matter, and why this is the time. This should have been spoken way before, long way before after Corona began. But nonetheless, I thought it's time to contemplate and understand the fear. And primarily, this talk is suitable for the devotees who are practicing devotees, and those who are in the moment for a long time as well. So, with the permission, I'm going to begin. I don't know if we have a facility to have the poll, but I will ask a question. Some of the things will make an interactive, so it's not a presentation. It's kind of a contemplating together. What this, because as we go through the subject, we will know that I'm not qualified to discuss to speak on this, but we can always make it a panel to discuss on this. So now, when it comes to fear, when you say fear, my first question comes: does it sound familiar? Does it sound familiar? And this question, when I presented in Delaware, so we say yes. Who doesn't have? Many times we don't express, but deep in our heart, every one of us is going through it. And let me again share what is the reason it compelled me to present this subject is by seeing the reaction of fear of death or fear of disease, which took place post-corona or due to corona. We noticed certain things in behavior of devotees and many people all over the world, but we can always focus on the devotees. So I thought, why not we openly discuss, just like His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj from Mayapur. He writes a book on death. So I'm
Bhakti
not writing.
Purushottam Swami.
Yeah, Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj. He writes openly. Hardly any book we can find death. So now, I'm not writing a book on death, but really, with all of your help, in last 15 minutes, we will leave it for open sharing and discussion for benefit of each other and for benefit of our congregation. So literally, this is not a class. It's a open sharing of knowledge, and we want to help each other, how together we can come out of it. So now, fear. The fear, we will not take a poll, but we understand that it is familiar to everyone. If you deny, we are lying to ourselves. If I deny I'm fearless, I'm lying to myself. There are certain things we cannot avoid. There are certain things we cannot deny. Why? This, as we go through, we will clear. Time is very short, but I'll try to make it things brief to give enough time for us discussion. Now, question comes: am I only one who is experiencing this fear? Or is the only people who are affected by corona is experiencing this fear? Or how about people, living entities all over the universe? Anyone within this universe is free from the fear. Certain discussions, knowing all this will help us how we can work on it. We are not alone on this journey. We are not alone in this journey. So we are all together. So Sri Harinamashtakam, I picked a couple of lines from that, is Brahmastamba Paryantam Sarvam Maya Mayam Jagat I don't know. I'm not the super soul. I cannot understand everyone's heart. But based on the scriptures, just wanted to share that Brahmastambha Paryantam means even from Lord Brahma up to the lower species within this universe. Sarvam Maya Mayam Jagat. Sarvam Maya Mayam Jagat. Everyone is made of, illusory. Our bodies are made of illusory energy. Everyone under the influence of fear. And now if you look into our life, I have noticed personally, basically, National Geographic Channel, if you see, or, those are observant, I'm a little observant sometimes. I noticed that when you see tiny birds, sparrow, a sparrow, a tiny bird, they'll be eating something, but they'll be always constantly is looking left, right, always. I'm shaking my head. Even the frequency of looking each other everywhere is very common. Even dogs while they're eating, any animal, anything, any bird or any beast we see, we will find that inherent. We always talk about the inherent nature of the soul, but today we are talking about the inherent nature of the being fearful, right? Can anyone notice? Anyone has noticed this fearful nature of expressions of any animals or birds? I don't know how I can say, but I'm asking this question. So look at the human society. Why we have day and night, every day, the nuclear weapons are growing. What is the purpose? It's fear. So this fear is inherent in conditioned souls, irrespective of whatever the species we are in. And not only that, even the species which is called demons, they apparently appear like a very powerful, they're not afraid of anything. But when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, even though they come as fearless, but they run away like a fearful. I just want to give an incident when the war was taking place between the demigods and the demons. When Indra's team came more powerful, this is the incident of fighting with Dhritarashtra. You all see why the demons came with a very powerful force that we are going to kill Indra's army. But when they saw Indra is so powerful, even though Dhritarashtra was with them, if you remember, all these demons, they run away. So why I'm saying, giving this example is, even bad guys also fearful. Even bad guys also fearful. Others, that's why Dhritarashtra is announcing everybody's name, don't run away, coward man. Why are you running out of fear? So we are not alone in this journey. Now, we as we cover that everyone within this universe is fearful. Whatever the species one may be, whatever the yoni one may be. Now, question comes: anyone who doesn't want to be free from fear, the few things we will discuss. Anyone who doesn't want to be free from fear, can anyone be free from fear? Many people never think about this subject matter. We just accept the life as it is. We just accept, okay, this is the way life it is. I live in a cage, and out of fear, as Prabhupada gives an example, and an ass, he lives his life all the time, depending on little grass by his master. Never thinks out of the box. Never thinks out of the box. So, can anyone be free from the fear? If you ask this question, for many people, maybe first time they're thinking, wow, I can come out of here. But unfortunately, people do not know. And we do not ask. We can look into our own lives, how many people we approached with our issue, saying that I have these symptoms, how can I come out of it? Now final is, how can one be free from fear? Can we be free from fear? If yes, how can we be free? Now, that before we go through, we will discuss now what is fear. Even though many devotees understand, but still, for the benefit of those who have not read this, fear has its own definition. When Lord Brahma created everything within this universe, which is the creation of ahamkara, so everything within this universe, he also manifested, fear is manifested. Now in this life, sometimes we experience fear and sometimes not. But fear is always there. It's manifests. Right now, I'm in four walls, finding full secure, comfortable, no issues. I maybe find a little fearless. But doesn't mean that I'm fearless. It manifests and it unmanifests based on the interaction with these different circumstances. So it is there inherent. And it's from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 2, 37. It explains, it says, fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. So basically, in simple word, in our day-to-day language, in Hare Krishnas, we will say that fear arises because of our forgetfulness. Fear arises because of our bodily identification. As long as I identify myself as a body and act accordingly, so fear is inevitable. We will cover also, okay, does it mean that, what about the liberated souls? That also we will cover. So fear is a manifestation. Fear is experienced in this world through universe. And it is because of when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of illusion called Maya. So basically, as we put everything in this material world under the category of Maya. But when we deeply study, when we deeply look into it, fear is one of manifestation of Maya. Fear is manifestation, and the reason is because it's illusion. It's illusion because of the illusion. And now as Dhanacharya Prabhu begin, right? What is this expression or experiences of the fear? In garlands, flower garlands. Flower garlands are very fragrant and very soft and very pleasant, and it is offered out of respect also. When we get the flower garland, we are supposed to be feeling happy, pleasant. Now, suddenly, from nowhere, you don't know, you're just deep in thinking of something else. And suddenly, a flower garland falls on your neck. What will be our reaction? What will be our reaction? Immediately, the reaction will be scared. We'll be scared. Immediately, we'll be scared of the situation. We will think, maybe it's a snake. Maybe it is a snake. But because we don't know what it is, even though it is a very beautiful, which is pleasurable, enjoyable circumstances, can create a fear for us. The other day, I was, my wife was cooking, in a very deeply. She was cooking. So I went behind her, just next to her head, and I put my head. I was speaking what she was doing, and suddenly she saw me. Oh, she got so scared that she thought, who is it? What is happening? So this fear is because of our ignorance, because of ignorance. Now, fear is good and bad? And the subject matter talks about um, overcoming fear. But now the question is, can we really overcome the fear? Is fear is always bad? There are two ways we can see. One is favorable and unfavorable fear. At the beginning of Krishna consciousness, I scheduled a seminar in overcoming fear. I was completely expecting that, yeah, we can be completely out of the fear, free from the fear. But fear can be a favorable and unfavorable, both. What is unfavorable fear is that we need to overcome. I'll give you a brief example. Is bhoge roga bhayam, kule chuti bhayam, bitte nrupalad bhayam, mane dainya bhayam, bale ripu bhayam, rupe jaraya bhayam. So this is the Sanskrit verses, different categories. Who is afraid of what? Who is fearful of what? Now, those people who are engaged is so much into sense enjoyment, enjoying their life. I have so many things and I'm enjoying. They'll be always afraid of, will I be able to enjoy this tomorrow? So they'll be afraid of the disease. The one with healthy senses will be afraid of the disease. Oh, I cannot enjoy. Those who have a beautiful body, nice, handsome, and beautiful body they'll be afraid of gray hair and old age. Those who are expecting, or at this time have very situation, have honor, they'll be fearful of humiliation. And more than that, all these living entities, irrespective of what, those are embodied souls, they're always fearful of death. And it is very common as a family, oh, what will happen? How will I maintain my family? Constant fear. Constant fear we suffer. I personally have seen and has gone through this constant fear. What will happen if I am not there? Who will take care of my family? Who will take care of my child? In this way, we see there are many unfavorable fear. They all fall under the unfavorable fear. So basically, we are talking about how we can overcome this unfavorable fear, right? We'll move, and more than that, when with so much of difficulty, we get some position in this world. And after we get this position, as soon as we get, then we have a fear of losing it. This attachment to this. Now, a few things we will discuss about favorable fear. That's why we should not be in a illusion that we should be always completely free from fear. But there's a favorable fear also. What is favorable fear? I work in my company. If I become fearless, there may be a chance that I will not be productive. I may not contribute the requirements of work at my office. So I must have some degree of fear with my superiors or supervisor so that I can continue my work, right? Now, in another sense, that if I become so much of fearless, I don't worry. That's why many times have you seen while driving on the road, people drive all these two-wheelers. Such an embarrassing, right? They make such a noise that you can hear from miles away. These bikes they ride. Now, what happens if you become fearless? What will happen? You just break all the rules, and you can put yourself into danger, and you'll put others also in the danger. There's few things. If we are not fearful of administrators or the king, if given the chance, there's no need of, there's option of paying taxes. I think many of us will avoid taxes, right? So we are paying taxes out of fear, because if you don't pay taxes, you will be punished by the government. And if we don't have a fear, we become fearless, what will happen? The cheating will come, stealing will come, plundering will come, and sinful activities will also come. I wish I could give time, but there's example in King Vena's story, right? The Vena, even though it is such a bad guy, considered, character is not good, still he was required, because these citizens, they noticed that because of lack of a kingdom, lack of a king, all these people become a lot of stealing and plundering has increased everywhere. So there's a necessity of a king. Sometimes better to have a bad guy, still we need that way. These plunderers or cheaters, they will be afraid of plundering others. So fear has its own benefits, favorable. Initially, I was under impression that fear is, one should be completely fearless, and it has no value. No, it has some value, and more than that, fear that brings one close to Krishna. That we will focus in later phase. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in his prayers how not only ordinary human beings, even the greatest of the demigods also does their work out of fear. His Holiness Bhakticharya Swami Maharaj sings in this tune. I will sing for all of you. Tumi tomari beja ketare rakhibe pa ichhava sotribhuvana Brahmadi Devagan Tava dasa gana Kore tava agyara palam. So here it says, Brahma Adi Devagana Tava dasa ganan Kore tava agyara palam. They all follow your instruction, your order, not instruction, your order. Agya means your order. Tava ichhama tejata graha ganeya virata subha subha phala kare dam raga saka mrityu bhay tava ichhama teha tava agya sada balavan. Roga soka mrityu bhay means death and fear and disease and distress. Soka means distress, if I understand correctly. Tobo icha motoe, according to your will, it comes. Tobo agya sada balavan, and your order is always superior, powerful. Taba bhaye vayuvay, chandra surya samudaya, swaswaniyamita karya kare, tumita parameswar, parabrahma paratpa, taba vasa bhakata antare. Taba bhaye vayu, the wind is blowing because of out of fear of you. Well, it's not my words. I'm just sharing what is written. It's Bengali. Taba bhoy, vayu boy. Means the wind blows out of your fear. If Krishna's fear, the fear is not there, whoever it is, because Vayu accepts the Lord as the master, so out of fear he does his work. At the time of Prithu Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, when he noticed that his citizens are not getting enough food grains, and he found that everybody is doing their duty, he chastised, he chased earth. It's your fault. So out of fear, Mother Earth started supplying the necessities of all this living entity. So fear factor has its benefit, advantage. That's why I was talking about some of the favorable fear. So we can, so here in fear of you, the wind blows, and the sun and moon and all other perform their allotted duties. You are the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Spirit, supreme above all. Your residence is in the heart of your loving devotees. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, a person has four endeavors are driven by our endeavors are driven by four factors. He says, what are those four factors? We will discuss. One is actions. Any action we perform out of fear. Action which arises, takes place out of fear, and the second action out of expectations. So out of fear means we do only because of the due to fear. Very simple. Many actions we perform. That action which is forced, which we feel, the endeavor which will take place is out of fear. That's one category. A second category is any action which is done out of expectations. I am doing because I will get this. And the third action, which is action out of responsibility or as a duty, as a rules, or this is my duty, no matter what I will do. As Krishna mentioned, that it is as a kshatriya, this is your duty. You must perform. So any outcome comes out when we discharge our duty out of responsibility. And the fourth is actions driven by the love. Unfortunately, most of this in this age and time of this world, it says that a lot of actions are taking place because of the first two categories. One is action out of fear and action out of expectations. So there are four type of endeavors. One acts with one is fear, out of expectations, out of responsibility, and out of love. Now, this is the point we want to emphasize, that can one be fearless in this material world? I did a little research in Srimad Bhagavatam, because our title is Overcoming the Fear. Can we be really completely fearless in this universe? So can the liberated souls, at least we are conditioned souls who are always fearful, can the liberated souls be fearless? Bhagavatam explains this. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Supreme Reservoir of all material opulences by the 1/4 of his energy, in which all the living entities exist. So basically, in summary, there are four, the Lord's creation, which is called Sandhini Sakti, we can divide into two categories. One is, which is 3/4 of his spiritual world, and 1/4 is material world. The Lord's energy divided into three components, parts, namely Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini. In the material world, such a sense of existence, knowledge, and pleasure is meagerly exhibited. Which one? When it is referring to spiritual world, which is full of manifestation of existence, knowledge, and blissfulness. More details is going to come. The nature of the spiritual world is Satchidananda. But in the material world, the knowledge and pleasure is meagerly exhibited, even for the liberated souls. So point is, as long as we are in this material world, whoever it is, one has to have experience of the fearfulness, a minute degree. Let me cover that. What he says, all living entities who are minute parts and parcels of the Lord are eligible to relish such consciousness of existence, knowledge, and bliss very minutely in the liberated stage. I was under impression that in the liberated stage, one can completely free. But it says that, free from the fear, but it says that even in liberated stage, one does not experience the completeness of the Satchit Ananda, which is full of manifestation of existence, knowledge, and blissfulness. Completely, no. It is only experienced in meagerly exhibited, and very minutely one can experience in liberated stage. Whereas in the conditioned stage of material existence, they can hardly appreciate what is factual existence, cognizable, and pure happiness of life. So that's the difference between a conditioned state and liberated state. Liberated state, we can have an experience of very meagerly, very minutely, as long as we're in this material world. Because this material world is product of Asat, Achit, and Nirananda, where fear is, integral nature. Is what you call the nature of this material world is to be fearful. The liberated soul in the spiritual world, who exist far greater numerical strength than those souls in the material world, can factually experience the potency of the above-mentioned Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini energies of the Lord in the matter of deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from old age and disease. So deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from old age and disease is experienced completely only in spiritual world. That's why Prabhupada says, as long as you have the material body, you have to go through birth, death, old age, and disease. Many times, we ask, hey, how come such a saint, such a great person is also going through all these things? We cannot change the nature of this material world. All we can change is our perception towards it. And at the same time, here, in the material world, the planetary systems are arranged in 3 spheres. In a very simple example, why I'm speaking this is that in the material world, wide varieties of living entities, from grass up to the Brahma, 8.4 million species of life. Now, among them, the experience of this fear factor is also different. Everybody is not in the same level of fearfulness. First of all, one species, what yoni one is taken birth. Second is one's consciousness. The more one is bodily consciousness, his experience is more fearful than the other one. In our own life also, we can see, we look into our own family members, everyone will react to the situation differently when it comes to fear. But everyone has it. Here it says that in all these lokas, in none of these 3 loka, in higher planetary system, here, or the lower planetary system, can one experience the status of immortality, full knowledge, and bliss. And further, the upper 3 planetary systems are called Sattvika planets because they provide facilities for a long duration of life, like Brahmaloka and Satyaloka, residents of Brahmaloka and Satyaloka, they give long duration of life and relative freedom from the disease and old age, as well as the sense of fearlessness. I hope I'm not running fast. So in this spirit, in this world also, universe as well, when we go higher planetary system as Satyaloka and Brahmaloka, we'll find yogis. And many of them, they don't have, in Brahmaloka, I don't think they have gross bodies at all. However, they will have relative freedom from the disease, old age, and sense of fearlessness. However, they're not completely free from. Because that's why Lord Brahma says, I'm not free from all these things. So it is there, and it is experienced in different degrees based on one's consciousness. So the great sages and saints are promoted beyond the heavenly planets to Moharloka. But that also is not the place of complete fearlessness, because at the end of Kalpa, the Moharloka is annihilated and the inhabitants have to transfer themselves to still higher planets. Yet, even on those planets, no one is immune to death. In higher planets also, no one is immune to death. There may be compared to existence of life, expansion of knowledge, and sense of full bliss. But factual deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from old age, disease, etc. are possible only beyond the material spheres of the coverings of this material sky. Such things are situated on the head. Adhyay murdhesu. So in summary, both liberated soul and the conditioned soul will have experience of fear. Even in liberated soul also will have certain degree as long as in this material world. Now, then what is the question? What is the meaning of overcoming fear? So overcoming fear means not like we will act while living in this material world. We should be like come out of the house. Okay, now I'm the spirit soul. I can do anything, whatever I can do. I'm totally free. Because soul never dies. No, it is not that. One must accept the favorable fear, because that favorable, as long as we're in this material world, one must accept the favorable fear. Everyone. Only bhakti, the devotional service, can give freedom from the fear and anxiety. Now, what is that meaning? What is that meaning? For devotees, how we act. We accept at the beginning, we accept the favorable fear, and we discharge our responsibility very sincerely. And eventually, as a devotee, we follow the footsteps of the great personalities. And what happened? If you see, Mother Queen Kunti always prayed, Lord Krishna, let there be calamities. And calamities means we have a fear. Fear means we are going to take shelter at your lotus feet. Just like giving a scenario, a child is crying out of fear. But as soon as the child gets embraced by the mother, I think, I forgot when I was a child, I think the child feels complete safe and secure. The child is not free from the fear, but because the child is taken shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, in the heart of the mother, the child feels very secure. So similarly, as a devotees also, we will have the fear. We will have the experience of the fear. And that gives an opportunity for us to take more sincerely to Krishna consciousness. And what is the best example we can give, than the examples of the Brajavasis, where Krishna was personally present all the time for so many years. And for every situation, the Brajavasis took shelter of Krishna out of, to free him from the danger and fear. And on the other hand, one example, if you see, these cowherd boys, when they saw the Agasur, the snake, they were thinking what it is. They suspected this must be some creature which is planning to eat. But they what did they do? They immediately fearless, okay, Krishna, they will protect. So the two things. One is they have the fear, but because they have taken shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, that's why they become fearless. So real fearlessness means is taking shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Now, what is the process? What is the process? Process is etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuta bhayam yoginam nrupa nirnitam hare namanu kirtanam. O King, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.11. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwar Hari Srotabhya Kirtitabhyascha Smritabhyascha Checha Tabhyam. Now this is another point. One who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller and savior from all miseries. So that's the Srimad Bhagavatam instruction. Now, why I'm bringing this point is, this corona situation, we notice that many actions within the community has witnessed that the fear should have been the opportunity for us to take more and more shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. More and more taking shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Now, when it's complete lockdown, many times we see within the congregation also, okay, now, I feel more secure inside the house. That's very good. We need to protect ourselves. There is favorable fear. But while within the favorable fear, we should not forget our actions, our activities, which is recommended, which is actually going to protect us from all the danger. I don't have to go to temple, and I don't have to drive to temple. I may save some money also. I have to see if I'm chanting because no one is watching me. Probably I don't have to chant. We can feel very comfortable, but that will not free us from the danger. That's not going to free us from the fear. And so there has to be a balance. What is the balance? Am I more committed to chanting? Am I more committed to my chanting? Am I still offering my services to Lord Krishna, irrespective of all these situations I'm going through in my life? Am I still taking association of devotees? Is through virtual or physical, whatever it is possible. Am I still reading Prabhupada's books? Did I increase Prabhupada's books? Am I still providing my services to the movement? Or rather, did I increase my services at the difficult times? This is the time of the test for us, our devotion. Krishna is a test for the devotees. It is a punishment maybe for the conditioned souls who have never wanted to surrender to Krishna, but it's an opportunity and test for the devotees. As a devotee, it is a responsibility or it's an opportunity for us so we can improve our service more and more. Now I'm not coming to temple. I probably have no responsibility in the temple. I'm glad I don't have to do. Well, by thinking in that mindset, actually we are risking our own life. So we have to, that's why this may not be understood by ordinary people, at least for devotees, for beginners who are spend some time in the movement or already sincere devotees, that as a together, can we sustain ourselves? Can we improve? Can we increase our services to the temple? Turning away from bhakti, if we say now I don't need to take an association. So turning away from bhakti and still trying to be fearlessness is contradictory. That's the hard time. I don't know how can I would like to hear from senior Vaishnavas also. Rather difficult times, our engagement should increase more and more. Difficult times, our engagement should increase more and more. I'll just end with one prayer. I don't have time actually. Tomar charane na kori ache pranipa bhakati binada tabada विपद होइते स्वामी अवश्य तारे तुमी रखिबे ताहार विश्वास. O Lord, your servant, your eternal servant, Bhaktivinoda has bowed down at your lotus feet. O Master, he cherishes the faith that you will surely protect him from all dangers. This is a thought which had been in my mind. I wanted to share with the congregation and devotees that how we can take this situation as an opportunity, more than for anyone, for ourselves. How we can increase ourselves. Krishna sees that, and by taking shelter at this time at the lotus feet of Krishna, which can very easy for us to grow spiritually, and Krishna will certainly protect, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. That's all. Take shelter. There may be some mistakes. I request all the senior Vaishnavas, please share and your thoughts and corrections on this, please. Hare Krishna. Oh, it's the exact time, 3 minutes, but hope it allows for some question answer.
Thank you, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu. Very, very thought-provoking class that you gave. What we did is we made you co-host there, so you can take the questions directly, so we don't have to feed them to you. If the devotees want to raise their hands and ask questions or comments, they can do so at this point.
Thank you so much. Yes, and you all please also feel free. Not only questions, feel free. I request everyone, please be. I'm not a perfect, because at the beginning itself I mentioned that I am not a person who is qualified to speak on this subject. But as a leader of the society, I felt it's very important thing to set an example or to protect our own family, spiritual family. And both Delaware and Philadelphia, it's a congregation, everyone, it is my humble request is that please contemplate on this subject very, very careful. Let not lose our little devotion we have it. My humble request is, if we don't know how long the situation goes, but at the same time, as a devotees, we must emerge stronger and stronger and stronger. And we need everyone's cooperation, because why? We really love and care for you. Thank you so much. Ram Kumar Prabhu, yeah, please go ahead.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam, who does it a step of it's wonderfully covered so much of depth level, Prabhuji. So still, I mean, this is not my question. This is kind of comment or realization personally for me. So coming to the Krishna consciousness, those who are practicing the Krishna consciousness, chanting the Mahamantra. So as Acharya said in the different lectures, the first thing goes is the fear. So I was just going through the Bhagavad Gita, verse, that is the 4.10. So Raga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mapusrita. So in this, it said, Krishna said, like being freed from the attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, taking refuge in me, many persons in the past become purified by knowledge of me, and thus they attain the transcendental love for me. So once we, start chanting, even though offensive, slowly regulated, offenseless, so it makes us, the fear goes off and we become fearless. Not fully, because it is as you already said, and we are in the material. So but it helps too much. Otherwise, we are scared of too much of it. It is by nature product. So, but it helps too much, and we become fearless. Personally, this I have realized, Prabhuji.
Very nice. And fear should not adversely impact us. So here's the thing. The whole purpose of speaking is not like today after class, we all will become fearless, sannyasi and total. No, there's two effects. One is we should not be carried away by the adverse impact of this. We should be seeing, ultimately the spiritual progress part we have to see. If you lose the spirituality, then you lost everything. You lost everything. Thank you. Yeah, very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I don't see any comment, any hands raised. Anyone have more comments? Please feel free.
I have a question for you, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu.
Yes, sure.
So the concept that when I grew up, I grew up as a Christian, and they focused on this idea of fearing God. And we learned to fear God. We prayed because we feared that if we didn't pray, something bad may happen. Okay, if I don't go to church, or I don't say a prayer before I eat food, or if I don't say a prayer before I go to bed, I might not wake up the next day. God may get mad at me, and So in Bhakti Yoga, we see the opposite. We see that we're trying to actually develop love for God, not come to God out of, if I don't, then something bad will happen. We're actually trying to render positive, loving service to God. So I've also seen this as
remnants of that is also there within Hinduism, this idea of fearing God. You perform different yagyas in order to get certain results. And if I don't do these, yagyas, or samskaras, or, some people, even we were recently talking about Ekadasi, perform Ekadasi. Some people perform Ekadasi. If I don't perform Ekadasi, I'll become filled with sin. But not necessarily to develop devotion, but in fear of what may happen if I don't do it. So those of us that are brought up in these situations where we're taught to fear the ramifications of not performing religious activities and God's wrath or God's anger towards us if we don't do something, how do we try to get rid of that and really absorb ourselves in trying to love God with our consciousness?
Yeah, thank you, Dhanacharya Prabhu. I know you can answer this, but still for the benefit of everybody asking this question, because you have seen both sides. You have seen, you grew up as a Christian, you have practiced, and you also practice Krishna consciousness. Now, in simple and brief explanation, I would say that just like we discussed, four things, 4 ways, 4 endeavors driven, the 4 factors which can make us act. One is out of fear, expectation, and one is out of duty and love, right? But I won't completely deny that as Krishna conscious, we deny completely the fear aspect. Let me give a simple example, right? Of course, we can use the platform of the fear. The fear actually, out of, please mute it. The fear, we may out of ignorance, we can commit so many mistakes. So fear is not totally bad. When Narad Muni met the hunter who was killing all these animals, half dead. So Narad Muni actually explained to him, do you know what is going to happen? What are the reactions for this kind of act? So when Narad Muni enlightened him about the situation, there's a fearful situation. So there's a fear is there. So we can understand the fear or accept the fear in a proper perspective. We cannot completely deny. Now is the fear. What is that? If I don't take off my human birth, I will be taking a lower species. It's going to be more miserable. So that fear is there. So that fear, using that fear as a platform, we can now take an action. So only in that platform we can render the devotional service. Otherwise, as from a neophyte stage to the advanced stage, we have to go very gradual progress. We cannot completely jump from the fearful situation to completely fearless situations. It's a gradual progress. At the neophyte level, fear has to be there. If my child, if I don't put some fear in his heart, thinking that out of love only he will do, it won't work out. So at the beginning, until we grow, we mature in our spiritual life, the fear factor has to be there. And that fear factor is not really scare them. I don't know if you're referring to as a scary, but telling the truth about the reality that what is going to happen post, after death, or other, once we die, what's the reactions of the karma, everything. That's the. So Krishna consciousness does not deny the fear. If you kill somebody, you will be killed. So that fear factor corrects someone. So that is favorable. But if you're saying that an organization, an institution always keeps throughout your life in fearful situation only, then they never allow you to grow. So basically, you have better experience from other churches and teachings, but as Hindu or Krishna consciousness way, we don't totally deny the little fear factor. Bhagavatam explains. So now it's up to the people. How do they take? They take as a knowledge, or it's better that they're fearful at the beginning. Because if you're not fearful, we will not grow in our spiritual life, or will not take Krishna consciousness seriously. That's my understanding. You can please correct me. You can please correct me.
I liked your answer. Thank you for explaining that. And one thing I'll mention is Srila Prabhupada talks about, when you talk about a positive fear, he talks about a healthy fear of Maya. You know, we have to have a healthy fear of Maya, meaning that Maya is very powerful, and that we are also very weak. And if we understanding that we're you know, in a weak condition, not very spiritually immature, not very spiritually strong, we're like a you know, just a small blade of grass, and can just easily be just knocked over very easily. A very, you know, a creeper, actually, that's the example given by Mahaprabhu. The creeper is not very strong. It has to attach itself to something. So Maya can very easily just knock us over. So we should have that healthy fear of Maya. Not that, okay, I can do, and you gave the example, I think you gave a very nice example of that with, you know, a company. You have to have kind of a healthy fear of your superiors, your boss, in order to perform to your capacity. So you have to have a healthy fear of Maya, knowing that at any point, you know, I'm not free from false ego. Boom, Maya can disrupt my life at any moment, and I have no control over that.
Right.
When it comes to love of God, you know, if that fear of Maya can help direct us to love of God, then that is obviously, you know, the most positive thing. We may, in the initial stages, like you say, we may not have developed that love for God. We may say, okay, I fear disappointing, you know, my spiritual master. So I may not have the love to naturally chant, you know, 16 rounds, but I've given a vow, and I don't want to disappoint my spiritual master. I'm fear of the offense, you know, I'm afraid of the
Very
offense.
nice.
So eventually that will be, you know, curtailed. That will be dovetailed into love of God, you know, if we stay with it, if we're under the proper direction. But in the beginning, sometimes we have to, you know, use that as motivation in order to, you know, come closer to Krishna. You know, we see that practically, you know, when we look at it, you know, when I look at my life, when I hear other devotees and their experiences. So thank you, Krishna Kirtan, for that.
Thank you. I think there's another devotee who has a question. Yeah. Is Murli? Oh, yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhuji, thank you very much for the nice lecture. I have a small doubt for my purification. All these Vedas and scriptures and so many saintly people, they always say that we have to follow this regulative principles, then Veda injections and all. Suppose when we are preaching, can we tell the people that about the do's and don'ts, and accordingly we can convince them, giving the scriptural references, not to have fear if you take the lotus feet and if you surrender to the Lord. Is it okay, Prabhuji?
You mean, yeah, I think if I understand correctly, sometimes we try to preach others by giving references of the fearfulness, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, it's okay because it's not a proper way of teaching. At this time, only love, compassion and love is that matters. You cannot, nobody's going to listen to anyway. You know, nobody's going to listen anyway. So only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that one must preach with one's own example. If you have a relationship, you can have a very conducive way. We can explain the situation, but not like, okay, if you don't do it, just select all these verses. You know, that's not the right way of preaching. We should focus on the positive ways, you know. And this negative is the fearfulness is the learning process. They will eventually come to know. But we have to share them what are the positive experiences they will get. So there are do's and don'ts, you know. So these things will go away. You will be fearlessness means you will be free from fear. But what you're going to get, that we need to focus.
Yeah, that's what
So-
means. Suppose if I tell about hearing or chanting, everything, if you do this Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting, at least to begin with one round, you will get so and so benefits.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Like why I asked you, after your advice, I started like this to my close friends, family friends, then some of the relatives and all. So their immediate question is, चलो आजकल देख रहे हम बहुत सारा लोग without even ये chanting and all, they are also surviving. What is that you are going to tell us for chanting? Even though I shared my experience and the benefits of the chanting, or hearing from very learned people, or whatever scripture says, the ultimate question for each of them is this. So there, is it wrong to quote that?
I really didn't get, maybe we can discuss with offline. I really didn't get your question properly. We will discuss with offline after that class. We will talk. Is that okay?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank you very much.
So if, is it time out? Is anyone want to share some more? Yes, Prabhuji, you're raising hands. Yeah, please go ahead. Arvindaksh, Prabhuji, yeah, please. You can unmute yourself. Or let me, I have to unmute, sorry. Mataji, I'm not able to unmute him. Oh yeah, you unmuted, yes.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a wonderful class. I've been trying to listen very carefully. And from what I understand is that it's not a point of being fearful or fearless, but being Krishna conscious or not Krishna conscious. That's the point. That fear is like a stepping stone to surrender to Krishna. It's like a vehicle for the devotees. Like Draupadi, even when Krishna was here, devotees were experiencing suffering. Draupadi, she was fearful about being disrobed in the presence of so many men and things like that. And she called out for Krishna. So I think the calling to Krishna is being fearless.
Thank you. Yes, that's correct. The reason also I brought up this subject is that this fear should not be an impediment to our progress.
Right.
You know, we should grow.
Right.
We want you to be safe. We want to be healthy. At
Right.
the same time, not at the cost of your spiritual life, which is actually the solution for your fearlessness.
Right. Or trying to mitigate the fears.
Yes.
We should search for the refuge in Krishna, going to the refuge for Krishna, not to try on our own to say, oh, to be fearful is such a terrible thing. Let me become fearless. That shouldn't be our attitude, but to surrender to Krishna.
Yes, and it's the biggest danger because for our spiritual life, you know, if we say, okay, no association, first of all, you know, no, it's all virtual association. No one is seeing if I'm chanting or not. You know, I don't know how I gave my Janmashtami donation or not. Example, you know, so I'm not going to temple. So basically, we are hampering our own spiritual growth, which is actually benefit. We are not giving anyone donation, first of all. We are helping ourselves by providing this service, either financial or physically. That understanding is very important for a community like ours. We have a lot of big communities and we need to be together. Everybody should be joining the call, discussing this, that time we should be discussing. That's what spiritual communities. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, you got the point. Yes, very nice. Thank you so much. Point is, you know, we should take this an opportunity to submit ourselves more and more in Krishna, because we are the most fortunate people, not like gliding down in our Krishna conscious way. And how will we see? Based on how my taste for, you know, improving my chanting, reading, I'm taking virtual association. Even the difficulty, I'm asking the temple authorities, Dhanachari Prabhu, tell me, what can I do?
Right.
Okay, I may give 3 hours class, but at the end of the day, how I live, you know, how that shows my years of devotion. If it's not there, That's why we are making this platform, come and discuss and learn this subject matter. I'm actually educating myself. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to be amongst all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you again, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, for sharing us this important message that you did and clarifying, these important points around fear. A couple announcements that I want to make. I want to thank all the devotees. Over this past week, we celebrated Krishna Janmashtami and Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. And this was the first year we had to do it in a much different way than we typically did. And many devotees really stepped forward and helped make this festival enjoyable for everybody. Whether you were at home or you were physically able to come to the temple, your participation really helped make this festival something special. The volunteers that came to make garlands, help cook the feast, decorate the altar. We had devotees that helped come Abhishek, to Kirtan. Thank you to everybody that helped that, as well as our sponsors that came forward. You never know in times like this what's going to happen. We had no idea. We never did something like this before. How many people will come? Will we be overflooded with people that we won't be able to manage? Will it be nobody show up? We just didn't know. It was the first time. Again, thank you to everybody for helping make Shri Krishna Janmashtami and Vyasa Puja a wonderful time to glorify Shri Krishna and his pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. Earlier, we mentioned that we had a new outfit that we offered to the Lord today. So the story behind this is actually the night dress, the night Janmashtami dress that we have. But because they made a flower dress during for the night Janmashtami, and this is actually a very beautiful, very beautiful dress. Even though it's a night dress, it's still very beautiful. We said, let the Lord appear in this dress on Sunday, so all the devotees can see them, because they wouldn't have seen, they would have just seen in the flower dress. So let the Lord appear in this dress on Sunday. So we'd like to actually thank Jagannath Chandra Prabhu and his family. They sponsored the day dress and the night dress this year. So we'd like to thank
that's
them.
very nice.
We thank
Are
them.
there,
He was here earlier. I think he may have had to
he was
leave.
there. Yeah.
Maybe he's on YouTube. A couple things that are coming up in the upcoming weeks. Actually, next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, August 25th, is Radhastami, the appearance day of Srimati Radharani. We'll also be having a festival for that, for the appearance of her lordship. So stay tuned. Over the week, we'll announce the schedule for that day. But please mark that on your calendar. And then following that week, there's a bunch of other celebrations that we'll be having classes. There's the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Haridas Thakur, Lord Vamanadev, Jiva Goswami. And then on September 1st is Bhadra Purnima. This is a day that is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam as extremely auspicious day, so auspicious that it's actually benedicted in the Bhagavatam, that if one gifts somebody a set of Bhagavatams on that day, they're guaranteed to go back to Godhead.
Haribo.
So this is also an initiative, because Srila Prabhupada, this was his life's work. His literary work was to write the Srimad Bhagavatam, translate the Srimad Bhagavatam, and bring it to the West. And we can take this opportunity where we would benefit by distributing Srimad Bhagavatam and getting that benediction of going back to Godhead, as well as being able to give somebody the gift of Srimad Bhagavatam. Help spread Srila Prabhupada's movement. So please, I ask you to consider sponsoring a set of Srimad Bhagavatams. I believe the cost is $250, maybe a couple dollars more, a couple dollars less, but it's around that. Think of somebody that you would like to give it to, and we'll have more information about how to sponsor and you know who to get in touch with. Dana Tarpata Prabhu, he's not on the call with us today, but he's our lead here in Philadelphia for book distribution. He'll be making an announcement next week about this. Tonight, our Sunday program, our Sunday feast, is being sponsored in memory of Yatin Patel's mother, Ganga, who passed away this past week. We ask that all the devotees keep her in her prayers, in our prayers. You know, she continues on her journey. Her passing was very auspicious. She had the Maha Mantra being chanted in her ear by Srila Prabhupada tape. So this was very good to hear. So we pray to her. I ask the devotees collectively to chant together 3 times for her benefit, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. We also pray for Yatin Patel and Shraddha Patel and their children and their family, that Krishna provide them solace during this difficult time. With that, we'll conclude our session tonight. Again, thank you to Krishna Kirtan Prabhu. We also invite everybody to join us every morning at 7:50 to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. We have a Sangha, a community of devotees that gathers every morning at 7:50. We're in the 10th canto, Krishna's Pastimes. It's a wonderful time to join. It's the same Zoom channel, and we look forward to seeing you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
All glories
Krishna.
to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Thank you so much. Shri Radha Saran Bihari ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Jai.